Catfish is about people who put up pages on Facebook, you know, looking for romance and stuff like that, and claim to be who they actually are not. And so the whole program is, are they really who they say? And in most cases, they're not. Yeah, even the picture isn't real. Yeah, it's somebody else, and so on and so forth. But this thing of disinhibition, it's about, because you're in a virtual environment, nobody's quite sure who you are. And then what happens is that you can start telling yourself stories about who you are. So, when I used to work with Dave, about 8 years ago, something like that, it was all that one of the buzz line everyone was saying was that, all consumers would be asking, what's in it for me? Yeah? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? And it was all the same sort of idea. And so then from a copywriting point of view, I would have to explain, okay, so you've got to explain to them what's in it for them, the features, the benefits, stuff that we've all heard a million times, okay? I think today it's more than that. I think it's, I know your agenda. It's not what's in it for me. It's I know what you're up to. Because people are born into a virtual environment. And so, as I said earlier, with the idea of things like the clickbait headlines and so on and so forth, people are quite cute in terms of understanding it. I mean, look at this. On first meeting with people, around 70% of people will lie about their feelings and achievements. Compared to face-to-face, this actually goes even further up when it's online. You can be whoever you want to be. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the internet is wrong or any of that stuff. I'm just saying it's about using it in a different type of way, not just being led by the numbers, but being led by the reasons. I studied for an MA in psychotherapy, and I learned about this guy here called D.W. Winnicott. And he was talking about, and this is 20 years before the internet, but it's so true what he was saying. He was talking about something called the true self, which has a sense of being and doing in the experiencing body. I will explain all of this in just a second. It comes from a relationship between an infant and its mother. So when your mum, as an infant, responds to you in an open-hearted and comforting way, the baby, the infant, develops an authentic sense of self. So in other words, when the mother is giving the baby, milk or whatever it might be, then, or just comforting them generally, then the true self comes out. They are authentic, okay? And it's something that affects all of you, affects me, it will affect your great-grandchildren. This is something that's true to all people, whether it's about the internet or whether it's not about the internet. The basis of this is very important. I'll explain why. The web provides some, not all, with a lifeline to reach people with similar beliefs. Great. Others, though, may use it as a medium to rationally deny who they really are. So in other words, I put that in a different kind of language. It's about what's called the false self. And the false self is a defense mechanism. And so what you can do is that you can protect what you really believe about a brand because your false self is putting that out there. It's a bit like, you have a business meeting with people you never met before, and you're saying things that you think that they will want you to say and stuff like that. Have a look at this. So, the 5 traits of the false self. At the extreme, it acts like the real self, but it has no sincerity. But that's really at the very extreme. Second one is that it says, when you're on the internet, you'll say things about yourself, which is actually just to protect what you really believe, so that you're in with the in crowd. And I'm going to give you a good example of that in just a second. Next thing, it searches for safe conditions such as the internet, which allows the true self to grow. Fourthly, the consumer establishes a sense of I am, this is what I am, rather than what I can become through what I am. Now, I don't want to get into too much philosophy here, but it's basically saying I'm living in the moment, and I'm not looking at what the repercussions of what I'm saying are going to be. Finally, the false self encourages socially appropriate yet superficial behaviour that matches the off or online environment. Now, to prove this, I don't know if the story of Jeremy Clarkson has reached over here and all that stuff. Okay, so I've been quite involved with it with the BBC over the last 2 weeks, talking about the Jeremy Clarkson issue. There were over 1 million people who signed up a petition last week, not this week, last week, that said this shouldn't happen to Jeremy Clarkson, they shouldn't get rid of him, and we know the story and all that sort of idea. So we had, let's get this right, so we had all these people who were saying, you know, I support Mr. Clarkson and so on and so forth. And you've got here the sack Mr. Clarkson, and you've got the bring it back Mr. Clarkson, yeah? And everyone, as I said, was overwhelmingly about bringing him back. Now, as it happens, when was it? Wednesday? What was it? On Wednesday, I was back at the BBC, yeah, because they'd made a decision on Wednesday. They asked me about the BBC to talk about it again, and they made a decision to sack him anyway, all right? And they sacked him because of the thing about that he struck someone in the mouth and so on and so forth, right? And quite rightly too, you know, I mean, you don't go to work to get smacked in the mouth, okay? So, great. So, what happened then was all the people who a week earlier, remember, living in the now, I am, not what I could be, right? Right? They started saying, well, actually, you know, like, people like Clarkson make me sick, yeah? We should get rid of Mr. Clarkson, and I'm so pleased that the BBC did get rid of Mr. Clarkson. And so what happens with the internet, it's all so immediate. I think taking a knee-jerk reaction to things and saying, so a marketing person saying, well, everyone is tweeting about this, or everyone is Facebooking about that, so it must be what they want, I think it's just too short-sighted.